Good evening and welcome to another edition of Wrestle Talk Show. I'm here again, your host Joshua Zimmerman, here to give you wrestling's latest pay-per-views and pay-per-view outlook thus far for 2010 and what it's looked like in the past. First and foremost, let's get into our particulars so we can get right into the pay-per-view. We don't want to waste uh, any time if we can help it because we got a couple good points to make here that might take a little bit of time to a minute or two to establish. Um, our our audience, thank you again. Demographics are looking really good. Site views are looking really good. So we do appreciate that. We are working on the site, tweaking little things day by day. I am doing a step process uh, to basically make sure I don't put anything I'm going to wind up deleting on there. I want everything to be original, and I want everything to be for you guys to improve what you see on this program. So let's hope that all works out. So again, thank you for creating the audience that justifies the money spent for the things that I do. Uh, right off the bat, Monday Night Raw scores a 3.1, and now your TNA turning point. What do you say to a company that has no clue on how to do a pay per view? What do you say to a company that doesn't care if it makes a match to start a feud and then doesn't follow through with what they established on the show the night before? So basically, a company that doesn't care. So just bear with me here, okay? Jay Lethal versus Robbie E, accompanied by Cookie for the X Division title. That one says it. Says it all. Says it all. The X Division used to mean something in TNA. It doesn't anymore. There's your sign. And I'm not. Maybe you think I'm sarcastic. Maybe you think I'm trying to find the flaws. I'm really not. Like, for every flaw that WWE has, they also have a lot of positives. TNA's negatives outweigh their positives, where a couple of years back it used to be different. So also keep that in mind. Um, 10 minutes worth of wrestling. Robbie E captures the title after 10 minutes. The Jersey Shore spoof is now the X Division champion, proving once again the X Division means nothing. Mickey James versus Tara is your next match. After 8 minutes of wrestling, it turned out to be a no contest, but it did create a nice build into a story if they do it right. But we're not holding our breath here. Um, Motor City Machine Guns versus Team 3D. 17 minutes worth of wrestling, and Motor City Machine Guns retain their titles. Rob Van Dam versus Tommy Dreamer, 62 minutes into the pay-per-view. You'd hope after an hour of sitting, if you were the audience, something good would happen at this point. Instead, a mediocre bad match is thrown to a crowd that's already, like I said, been in the audience waiting for something entertaining to happen for an hour and 2 minutes. And this is what you get. Rob Van Dam versus Tommy Dreamer in a 16-minute match. Rob Van Dam 5-star splashes Tommy Dreamer. RVD wins. Competitors hug and they do the whole buddy thing, which that in itself I'm sick of seeing in wrestling. Um, Especially when you're trying to build real feuds between characters, and then after a match that isn't really, like, if it's an off off storyline match. They want to hug and be brothers, or I don't know. Fortune versus EV2. 12 minutes worth of wrestling. Fortune clashed to Sabu by Styles. 12, like I said, 12 minutes worth of wrestling. Fortune wins. Um, it wasn't long enough to establish anything if that's what they were trying to do. If they actually get rid of them, um, we'll see. Ric Flair should never sing again. Next up, the Pope versus Abyss. 13 minutes worth of wrestling. Black Hole Slam by Abyss. Abyss wins. Jeff Jarrett versus Samoa Joe. This match wasn't sold at all. Jeff Jarrett versus Samoa Joe. Jarrett wins by submission. Samoa Joe did not respond to the arm drop of 3 and was rendered unconscious, in theory. And now your main event. I've summed up TNA in 6 minutes. A 3-hour TNA pay-per-view can be summed up in 6 minutes. Tell me that this is not sad. Jeff Hardy versus Matt Morgan. And again, you didn't build Matt Morgan either. You had to fix it up when Anderson got his concussion. We get that and we sympathize with that. You had 2 weeks notice to make this happen. So, that part excused. Still, Matt Morgan's a contender and he proved it. Jeff Hardy, the heel now, if you all didn't hear that a couple weeks ago, a week, 2 ago, 3 weeks ago, he turned. The twist of fate is now called the twist of hate for those that solely follow this show. I doubt it, but just putting it out there as general knowledge. Jeff Hardy versus Matt Morgan. Whisper in the wind. After 13 minutes of wrestling, 2 twists of hates, Jeff Hardy retains. Getting into the news, bits, and rumors, since we have real quick to do. Like I said, Raw scored a 3.1 this week. Survivor Series hype continues overseas, with this past Raw being taped. For those who didn't get that or notice that. Jim Ross on a recent NBA radio show has something left in the tank for broadcasting. His top of wrestling Mount Rushmore would include Hulk Hogan, Austin, and Bruno Sammartino, along with others. Shawn Michaels' profile was recently profiled by North Dakota newspaper for his charity work. We always, like to put out there when they do good. Now let's discuss where pay-per-view gets depressing in the next 7 minutes. 2010 alone, they're looking at a 12% decline. 12%. Not bad if you consider the overall year. It's bad. You're going to see where it's bad when we look at around this time over the last 5 years. So bear with me here. Another bit of news, bits, and rumors. Lawler missed the 11/8 Raw for a severe staph infection. It may lead to a major, may lead to a procedure. Just getting that out. But look at this. Now, look at the whole platform as a whole. Let me see if I can establish this real quick and then just go from there. In 2009, pay-per-views were $45. That was the price by WWE. Before any taxes or fees, WWE was charging $45. It's seen a $5 increase and nothing but decreases in revenue. Money in the Bank 2010 is a great example. Got 165,000 buys. compared to Night of Champions that got 267,000 buys the previous year. Just looking in general, like I said, around this quarter over the last 5 years, 2007 into 2008, the company lost $2.4 million. 2008 to 2009, they lost another 1.9. 2009 to current shows a loss of $900,000 to date in pay-per-view revenue. And you got to ask yourself why. Why are two companies, well, one company more than the other, but the one company used to only be on pay-per-view and they used to sell better. Granted, it used to mean a little more, and it all comes full circle. Uh, First off, like I said, you have to look at a lot of things. It's kind of sad that I took the 6 minutes to cover TNA, because this could have been a whole rant in itself, because everything factors into this. The fact that they don't have storylines that are worth following, so at the end of the month there's no point in paying the money. The storylines go back and forth, and you see it over and over, and they make up hype pay-per-views just to name an annoyance. Uh, just different things all contribute to this one loss, and I think people only look at the loss, and analysts only look at the loss, but this loss reflects actions taken throughout the creative process of the company. And I think the only thing it's ever covered is the loss or gain. Not the fact that, hey, your pay-per-views suck, but it's okay that you're making $22.1 billion in television rights and fees whenever something WWE is aired by someone else. So we're not going to pay attention to that because you still clear $225 million easy every quarter. That is what this is made to be. Not Vince cut back, not Vince shareholders to Vince cut back. Vince, we want to go back to 12 pay-per-views a year. Vince, we want you to work harder. Come up with creative ideas to keep the fans engulfed for 3 weeks. That way when they spend $50, they don't have to regret it. They don't wind up regretting it. It's not hard. You used to be able to do it well. And I know I probably reiterated on this 1,000 times in like every other video. They used to be on top. They strayed away from the mold to try and be different when it was working for them. And now they're just coasting because they've got their hands in so many other things, but the product gets to suffer while the rest of the organization clears the money. When it used to be the product made the money. Now the product's made so much money that your top dog sometimes doesn't care what he puts on TV. You got this Monday Night Raw old school stuff. It's just, I mean, between this past Raw and this coming Raw, they're placeholders while you get your affairs in order from the UK tour. The creative team, the story writers are beat probably in concepts and whatnot, but it's as clear as can be. It's a placeholder, old school, 3 hours of nothing but people that weren't even on Raw. They were on the Superstars of Mid-Atlantic or Superstars or one of those. There could be a part 2 to this. All that and more at WrestleTalkShow.webs.com. Send your emails to cwecompany@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook.com/CWEcompany and Twitter.com/CWEcompany. Again, we want to thank our entire audience. And like I said, this one's kind of got me on a roll, so maybe we'll take 5 and come up with another angle we can take from here to bring you